Welcome, hello. Yes. Central Coast Cider Festival 2023. So, my name is Thomas Henry. I'm the cider maker of Bounty Apple Cider Company, and we specialize in method champenois, which is to say we make champagne out of apples. And that's something that not a lot of people do because it's not very cost effective and it's hard to do, and who knows how to do that stuff in the first place. But we do it because it's super awesome and we get a pretty great product. Give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear me. Okay, so method champenois basically means that you're making cider, in our case, the same way you make champagne. It's the same process. In fact, cider is actually wine made from apples. Not even the government understands this stuff, but we kind of do. So, how do you make champagne? Well, the first thing you gotta do is you gotta make wine. So the same process that everybody in this room has made so far. You basically take apples, you crush them, you press them, and then you allow fermentation to happen until your primary ferment is over. And you can do that so many different ways. But basically make a base wine. That base wine, depending on your apples and sugar content, is going to be between like 5% upwards to about 11%. So at this point, this is cider. And then you can have still cider, like a still wine, or you can have a carbonated cider, which would mean you would either force carbonate it, or you pinch some sugar and some yeast and maybe some nutrients and make it a bottle conditioned product. You guys still with me? Okay. So to make champagne, you basically do a secondary fermentation in a bottle. You'll make a yeast slurry. You'll decide how much bubbles you want in that champagne. Usually it's about 20 to 22 grams per liter, so we're talking about like 5 to 6 volumes of CO2, which is a lot. We actually pay a lot of money for that tax. It's a champagne tax. And then you add some yeast, some nutrients, and then you add the sugar, and you bottle it. Now when you bottle it, you lay that down in what's called tirage. So what happens is that you take the cider and you put it sideways. That way the yeast will spread itself out along the width of the bottle, so that at that point it'll start to break down. It's called autolysis. That's when you're paying big money for all of this champagne, because the autolysis gives you those bready notes, all the stuff that like makes it like really interesting and cool and expensive. Now it can take months, that can take years. So there'll be some champagne houses that lay their ciders down in tirage for upwards to 12 to 15 years. We don't have that luxury. And I can't taste the difference, to be honest with you. So this is going to be in tirage for about 8 to 10 months. So it took about 8 months to make the primary ferments and age it. It took another 8 to 10 months in tirage. Now we're looking at around 2 years. But we got a bunch of yeast in this stuff. Is this bottle cloudy? It's not, right? So how do you get rid of yeast? You disgorge. You disgorge. What that means is that you got all this yeast inside. You take it, you shake it up, and you get it so that all the yeast is off of the glass. Then you put it in what's called a riddling rack, which is like this big board with holes. You plug it in, so it's at 90 degrees. Then every day you give it a turn. Not only give it a turn, but you give it a 1 degree elevation. So now the yeast that's on the bottom will travel down towards the neck of the bottle. And again, the next day, I give it another quarter turn and a degree, another quarter turn degree, until about 60 degrees. At this point, I've formed a yeast plug at the bottom here. It's compacted. So now I've got this clear cider on top, and I got this yeast plug on the bottom. In fact, I've got this yeast plug on the bottom. So I got a perfectly clear cider, but I've got still this stuff at the bottom. So the way I get rid of that is called disgorging. There's a couple ways you disgorge, and it's an art form. So probably the best way and the most commercial way is to have a net freezer, which is like way too much money, but it exists. It's basically this glycol solution then has like these little holes, and you put this down head first into those holes, and just the neck is covered in the glycol solution. That glycol solution is really cold, and it starts to freeze this part of the bottle and creates an ice plug, which encapsulates the yeast. So if you turn it right side up, you're just left with like this little chunk of ice. Now this bottle is fully charged. In fact, it's supercharged because there's way more carbonation in here than should be, because that's to account for your disgorging. So when you disgorge it, you take a disgorger. Can I get a volunteer? Can I get a volunteer to hold my bottle? Thank you. It's like $1 million because they only make these things in France and Italy. So to get these things, you gotta spend a lot of money to get them. But these things are great because they allow you to actually disgorge this bottle, so it's not gonna go in your face. If you try to disgorge this with a bottle opener, you're gonna eat basically that cork. It's coming at you like a couple hundred PSI. So what you do is you hold this bottle. You take the disgorger. You charge it. Now you notice that there's a little bubble here. You have to time that bubble. So yes, the yeast is compacted here, but if I turn this upside down, all that work I just did, gone. It's all going to matriculate back into the bottle, and again, like that's not what I want. So I have to time this bubble, so as I tip it up, I'm going to pop it just before this bubble gets here. And then all that supercharged carbonation is going to explode that frozen plug out and leave a perfectly clear crystal like cider in its wake. And we're going to demonstrate that right now. So we're going to actually do it instantly. I can't do it in here or else I'm going to be arrested apparently. Yeah, so if you guys want to follow me over to the balcony, I don't have to use this ridiculous thing anymore. We can actually not only disgorge this, but drink this at the same time. Yes, yeah.
Let's try to disgorge something. I've never heard of this disgorge.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. We should have just done this outside the whole time, to be honest. All right. So this one's kind of cool because this was a neighborhood crush. Basically, like everywhere I live, like someone's got an apple tree in like their backyard. And it just goes to the rats unless I collect it. So I collected all these apples about 3 years ago, all different types. And I decided, you know what, that's not cool enough. I'm going to get some passion fruit. So it's a co-ferment passion fruit cider champagne. Is it good? Mm-hmm. I'm really going to find out. Anyway, here we go. So I'm going to put this on my hip right here. I'm going to channel this. Then I'm going to time it so that when I bring it up to about where this bubble gets the yeast, but before it gets the yeast, I'm going to blast it out and then have to cover my thumb up because otherwise no one's getting any cider. Right? So let's see how good this works. So you guys can see the yeast is on the outside, but check it out. It's perfectly clear. I got to burp it a little bit.
Oh my god.
And we're ready to go. Who wants some cider? Sorry.
So does everybody take out to do that?
It's one of those things that a lot of people want to do because it takes a lot of time, energy, knowledge, and it's not an economic process. But it makes a great product. I've got 2 more bottles of Scorch. Don't go away, guys. If you didn't get this, you will. Yeah, if you guys want bubbles, this is the one. So this is like every apple in my neighborhood. Usually it's going to be cider fruit. It's going to be like dessert fruit, but it also has passion fruit that I was able to like do a co-ferment.
Inside cold, less crowded.
Yeah, I know.
All right, guys, I got 2 more. So here's the thing. I'm gonna talk you guys through this one more time, and then someone else is gonna do the 3rd one. Yeah. So again, super important you keep this like upside down. before you get it locked in. It's better that you put it like kind of in your hip right here. That's a good pivot point. From here, you're just going to take this and channel it, right? There's not a lot of pressure here. Now I got to time it. As I'm bringing this up about maybe 3/4 of the way, this bubble is going to get right about to the net. Then I'm going to go all the way, and my thumb's got to be right here. It's got to be fast. Because, again, you're not going to be left any cider. That's the other thing, is that once you disgorge it, there's going to be some loss. So you have to top it off, and at that point, that's when you add some dosage. Because it's going to be actually, dosage is like sugar, basically. So think of like all the champagnes you ever had. Very rarely are you going to get like a natural champagne that's going to be like just, you got to have some really good champagne to have like no dosage in it. But it's going to be like a dulce, or it's going to be like a sec or a demi sec or something like that to balance it out because they put crappy wine in it. But not to say that it's not going to be good tasting because it's all balanced out. But again, like there's no nutrients in it. So you can go ahead and put in as much sugar as you want, and it's not going to ferment because there's no yeast, there's no nutrients, it's all gone. All right, so here we go. It's in the hip, channel it, I'm gonna bring it up, I'm looking at the bottle, I'm gonna pop it, I'm gonna use my thumb to cover it up. I might not want to do it. From here, I'm gonna burp it, away from you. Yeah, who's this lucky person? Who wants a piece of this?
I can't imagine having
If you guys tilt the glass, here's the thing I learned in college. If you guys tilt the glass like this, then you actually keep the carbonation in solution. Yeah, it's the only thing I learned in college.
I'm trained professional. It's a little blackberry right now. Cheers.
Hey, good luck overpowering that passion fruit.
Oh wow, you can really smell it. And sadly, my aunt and uncle's passion tree was stripped this year, so I was hoping for some leftover fruit.
Very cool. I think you should do it. We'll send it to all your friends. It'll blast off. I'll scream. I'll freak out.
Yes. Great. We don't use it.
I got a weekend job. See my new weekend job. Justification. No. I was, but it happened so fast. So you like this one?
I like the food over there.
I'll take it.
All right, who's next? Who wants a piece of this?
She does. I know what she does right here. She wants to. Yeah! I do. I'm getting out of here. Wait, I gotta get the camera.
I actually, I'm gonna give you a practice bottle.
Okay. His confidence is overwhelming. Call 911.
So, are you right-handed?
Yes, sir.
Okay, hold this thing left. And put this on your hip. Okay. You gotta have your thumb close to the end. Yeah, so see my thumb right here? Because you gotta be able to get it on there. There you go, good. That's good. Now bring the thumb up like that. Good. I'm gonna take this and go ahead and channel it. Right, perfect, just like that. And now what you're gonna do is you're going to turn it up, bring it up, and pop. Bring it up, and pop. Good. So it's gonna start here, bring it up and pop. Cover. You got it.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, here we go.
I think I should get that all the way.
Got it? Okay, so hold this.
Oh, good Jay.
Now bring it up, go. Down.
I believe in this guy. No, actually half bad.
All right.
Walk
Walk it. All right. You're serving.
Not half bad.
I burped it all at once.